All right. Hello, hello. Welcome to another reading with Tarot with Josh, or welcome back. If you've been here before, today we're going to do another pick a card reading. So I think I have figured out a cool, interesting little structure here. So we'll see how this goes. But I like what I've come up with. So we got for pile number one, we got the Imperial Dragon here. We're going to use these dragon cards to kind of pick our piles here. And then for pile two, we have the Destroyer. And then for pile three, we have the Balance card here. So if you want to take a moment, see which pile calls to you the most, then we'll go ahead and jump on in. Real quick, I do want to give a little disclaimer. Take what resonates, leave the rest. Don't let these readings take from you. And ultimately, you'll know what you need. And I'm just some dude on the internet, you know. So hopefully you can get some sort of message or something out of this for you. But you know, not everything is going to apply to everyone because these are collective readings as well. So yeah. Anyway, thank you so much, and let's go ahead and dive on in. All right. Hello, pile number one. If you chose the Imperial Dragon card here, and this is your reading. All right, let's just go ahead and get on into this. So we're going to start off by reading what the Imperial Dragon says here. Now the Imperial Dragon corresponds, each of these dragon cards correspond with a major arcana from normal tarot or whatever. They're just given a little bit different of a name and have dragons on them, which is super cool. So this one corresponds with the Strength card here. And it says, true strength arises from the fusion of female intuition, spiritual energy, and masculine strength. When masculine strength is exerted on its own, the underlying energy is one of dominance, which serves no higher purpose. However, feminine spiritual energy exerts a gentle but powerful restraining force on this male energy, allowing it to endure in spite of most extreme challenges. Or the most extreme challenges. The merging of your masculine and feminine sides is vital for overcoming obstacles on your spiritual path. And I mean, so far, what I'm kind of getting from this card is just I think there's definitely a bit of a call for strength here, and I kind of will I think get a little bit more into that in a moment here. So, kind of what we're going to be doing with this is I have this Getting into the Vortex deck here, based off Esther and Jerry Hicks. You may or may not know who they are. And then we also have cards from this Crystal Healing deck as well here. I pulled one of each of these cards, and I think we're going to kind of use that to kind of give us the Esther and Jerry Hicks kind of will give us a little bit of a guiding line, or like a main focus of what this is going to be, mixed with this strength card here, and then we got the crystal healing card that'll they kind of give us like a bit of a healing in there in the booklet, and it's also going to be some sort of crystal that you might want to go and do if that's something that you're into. So let's hop into this here. We have for the Esther and Jerry Hicks, the Getting into the Vortex card, we have I'll not ask others to become different for me, which is a big lesson to learn here, especially if there's any issues with control. But let's see what it says on the back here. It says, let your vibrational relationship escrow percolate. Let your vibrational relationship escrow percolate and give it your undivided attention so that you become a vibrational match to it. And then, when the law of attraction brings all of it together, there are not any bugs to work out. Do not ask the person who helped you to define what you want to become what you want so that you can have what you want. Instead, use your willpower to focus upon what you want, and then the universe will bring you what you want. Okay, kind of interesting wording here. There's a lot of interesting wording in general with Esther and Jerry Hicks, with Abraham Hicks as well here. But if you don't know who they are, they kind of talk about getting into this vortex, and it's like basically kind of getting into alignment with Source, with yourself, and with your own inner guidance and your own vortex. And when you're in alignment with that, life becomes easy. That's kind of the whole idea. And if you want to learn more about them, I recommend doing some research. There's some really cool, really awesome lectures that they do, um, that are just so fascinating. This is kind of talking about like, I mean, don't ask the person who helped you define what you want, as in, I mean, this is kind of talking about our relationships with other people, right? So, I mean, often in our relationships with other people, we're interacting with people who may teach us what we want in ways that uh, in ways by showing us a lot of things that we don't want. Um, so so don't let that person who helped you define what you want, um, to become what you want. Wait, what? Don't ask them to become what you want. So this is really just speaking to the fact that you can't change another person. Um, Ultimately, the other person's going to be the other person, and everyone's got their own journey. And if you, I know, especially if you're on this healing path, it can be very easy to think, oh, well, I can change in this way, blah blah blah. So why can't somebody else? But ultimately, that other person is living their own life on their own journey in their own vibrational frequency or whatever, and it's not your responsibility to bring that person to that point. I mean, it's kind of harkens back to the analogy of like you can bring a horse to water, but you can't force the horse to drink the water. Ultimately, you could be screaming these healing proverbs all day till you're blue in the face, and ultimately that person may never do anything with them. They just, some people just like to live in their own whatever crap, and ultimately it's kind of just a waste of your energy. Not a waste of your energy, but it's kind of just like your energy's going to something that, if you just took that energy and poured it into yourself, or ensured that you were in alignment with your stuff, then the universe will bring you what you want. um because I mean, and I think there's also a big thing that goes on, especially when you like first start waking up to all this stuff. Like, you might think like, oh well, when you like first start manifesting, it's very easy to get caught in the trap of like, just manifesting like specific people or specific things with specific people, that just may not even be possible. Um, and ultimately, you wouldn't know that, but I think putting all this energy into trying to manifest those specific things with those specific people I mean, that's just, I think you'll end up learning a few lessons about, how you can't control other people. And ultimately everybody has their own free will and can choose to do with that what they will. It's kind of like this kind of relationship we got here. Like, I'm here telling you these things, but you can take these things and not end up doing anything with them. You could just disregard everything that I say and move on with your life. But it's my hope that sharing some of this information, I mean, this is mostly for me, to be honest. This is a pretty selfish act of like just kind of, I don't know, working through my own stuff, because like, I mean, this most of these things always tend to apply to me in some way or shape or form. um, and it's my hope that somebody else can get some sort of wisdom from this and be able to grow in whatever way they need, if they need that. So, of course, it's always my intention that these find who they need to find. Um, yeah. And yeah, that's a very, very cool card. There's some really interesting nuggets of wisdom in the Esther and Jerry Hicks stuff. And if you are interested in that, I do recommend you go and look that up. There's some really cool stuff. You can find like everything that they talk about on YouTube. There's a whole bunch of them that you can take a look at. Yeah. So let's get into our crystal healing card here. Now, each of these cards, there's like they all kind of like coincide with different chakras. So this one's coincides with the crown chakra here. And the card that we have is the purple what is it? Chalcedony, I think is how you say it. Purple chalcedony, but don't quote me on that one. Um, yeah. So it says psychic and healing here. I mean, look at that! How beautiful that crystal is. That's just so cool. Oh, I love it. I love a good crystal. Okay, and what it says here is so we got physical qualities for these crystals, and then emotional qualities for these crystals. And for physical qualities, it says transmutes negativity into positivity, relates to general health, tumors, and brain infections, reduces inflammation of the optic nerves and eyes, purifies energy fields, supports mineral absorption in veins, can alleviate the side effects of dementia. Emotional qualities, uplifting, calms neurosis, and emotional turmoil, brings connection with all life forms and a sense of purpose to one's soul. Opens the third eye for psychic knowledge, fosters humility, sincerity, and spiritual wisdom. Says, I am purified. Seems like a pretty cool crystal. I mean, even just looking at it looks really cool. So if you feel called to go and if you're a crystal person and you want to add something to your collection, this might be one that you want to add. Be pretty cool. Let's read what it says in our little booklet here for this guy, because they also give a nice little. Where is this booklet? Where did I put it? Oh no! Oh, it's underneath. They also give like a neat little healing that you can do with this crystal. But I think that uh, even if you don't have it, there's also uh, kind of cool visualization. At least that's how it felt with the last one that we had. Let's see. So, okay. So the healing purification here for the blue chalcedony says lie down with your back and lie down on your back and place a purple chalcedony over your crown chakra in the center of your head. Place another 12 inches above your crown. Place a third on your third eye and place a light pink crystal on your heart chakra. So if you do actually have these crystals, then you can go ahead and do this. Otherwise, do what you got, work with what you got, you know. And a fourth purple chalcedony on your belly. Next, place a smoky quartz or light brown colored crystal beneath each foot. Place additional purple chalcedony crystals 6 inches beneath the smoky quartz, 1 6 inches away from either side of your body, and one each in each palm. To further amplify this practice, you can surround yourself with white moonstone. Take long, slow breaths with each exhale. Relax and open yourself to the soft, healing, violet energy of the purple chalcedony. With each inhale, allow this energy to fill your body from the crown downward. Continue for at least 10 minutes, then rest within the violet light for at least 10 more minutes. Allowing this energy to seep into you, releasing negativity and tension, this will purify your physical, mental, emotional, and subtle bodies. Um, I think that like even if you don't have these crystals, it'd be very cool to try and maybe even intentionally connect with this type of energy. What you can do if you don't have these and don't want to go get them, or just don't have the funds to go get them, or whatever, then you can just take some deep inhales and try and feel this sort of energy, this what is it, the healing violet energy. You can like just imagine like a healing violet light um, bathing yourself, and then you can rest within that for about 10 minutes or as long as you want, and then allow and then uh, yeah, and then you can kind of just like live in this. I feel like there's just some really cool little things that you can do with this. You obviously don't have to follow this word for word, and I think that there's still some cool visualization stuff that you can do there that could be very beneficial for yourself if you would like that. So, um, that's very awesome. Next, I would like to pull some tarot cards and see if we got anything that wants to come through with that. Any messages that want to come through with these tarot cards. So, if you'd like to focus your energy on these and the intention of what needs to come through here. Very cool. Very cool. Let's see, is there anything else? Okay. And alrighty. And okay. Very nice. Okay. Cool. So what we have here is we have the Magician, Empress. I'll show you a little bit better here. Six of Cups, Queen of Cups, Ten of Pentacles, and Temperance. Very cool stuff. So what I'm getting from this energy, with the Magician and the Empress alone, it's like seems like, you know, you're in this pretty cool. I mean, if this found you in general, you're a pretty cool person. But seems like you're in this very interesting energy of like the Magician is, of course, talking about kind of connecting with the spirit and then bringing those things down into the physical. That's kind of like the process of manifestation, being this magician, being able to alchemize these energies and ground the thoughts of inspiration and stuff that you have in your head down into the physical reality and actually being able to release whatever these things are maybe blocking you to do that. And then we got the Empress here, which of course, like, it's the feminine. Like it kind of talks about like that divine feminine energy, really being in your power with that femininity there, and it's a very it's an energy of like, you know, you're receiving, you're very much in a space of like, especially with the magician there, it's like you're like in that master manifesting kind of mode there with these two cards here. And then we also have the Six of Cups, which is just a beautiful energy kind of. And what I'm really drawn to here is, I mean, you got these two boys who are just kind of playing around with these cups, putting flowers in them, just kind of, you know, enjoying themselves. And it feels like uh, maybe there's like maybe you're stepping into this place where like you're really going to be finding some cool people who will be able to support you on this journey that you're going on here, um, or support you as you move on in your life with whatever you're doing, whatever you're manifesting into your life. It feels like you're really starting to, hopefully you're starting to see your manifestations show up, and if you're not, then you will start to see them soon, I believe. And then we also got the Queen of Cups here, which the cups are all about emotions and stuff. And I'm really drawn to these seahorses that are on here at the bottom here. Um, and seahorses are always really cool. Um, I mean, people talk about like seahorse, how, you know, male seahorses are the ones who are pregnant and give birth. And I feel like, you know, if you, I mean, none of this energy is specific to whether or not you're a male or female. It doesn't matter. Everyone's got masculine and feminine energy within them, and it's really just about balancing those energies within yourself. And when you do have those energies balanced within yourself, then you are more in alignment with yourself and with the universe, and then you're more able to sort of manifest easier, step into that vortex a little bit easier here. Um, and I feel like kind of the big thing that you might be called to be focusing on right now is that um, is trying not to control other people, really focusing on yourself, and you know, a prayer that you can use, or words of affirmation or whatever that you can use that actually comes from Alcoholics Anonymous or Al-Anon or Alateen, if you know anything about those. It's a prayer that I've had in my life for a long time and has been very cool. It's just God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Um, it's a beautiful little prayer. It's a great little thing to meditate on too. I've found a lot of very beautiful wisdom within those words there. It's a it especially like uh, the wisdom to know the difference between what you can and can't control. And I feel like this card has been kind of talking with us a little bit about that, how we can't control others, but we can control ourselves. And that's definitely part of that, you know, thing. And then you can, uh, the, the serenity to accept the things you cannot change other people. So grant me the serenity to accept that, and then the courage to change the things that I can, the courage to change the things within ourselves that we can control and can change. And yeah, it's just a beautiful little thing. So if you need that, then maybe you can do that. And you can even, like, it doesn't have to be God specific. You can, use universe or higher power or whatever it is you believe in, or just that. You could just say, "Grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change." It doesn't have to be super specific. We can have fun with this and be a little creative with it. So yeah. Anyway, let's move on to our Ten of Pentacles we got here. A Ten of Pentacles. I mean, tens are completion energy. Pentacles talks all about the physical. Sounds like, especially as you continue down this path of like focusing on what you can control versus what you can't control. Um, really be finding that success and that abundance a lot more within your life, with that in financial things specifically. I'm also very drawn to, I mean, in this card specifically, we have this older gentleman in the purple talking to this younger gentleman, and then the older gentleman has a hand on the little doggy and kind of like petting the little doggy, which very cute stuff. It's almost like this older gentleman's maybe giving this some sort of wisdom to this younger gentleman, and in doing that too, he's also petting the little doggy, which is kind of fun. I don't know, just kind of drawn to it. Um, yeah, yeah, maybe there's something significant with a pet that you have or something like that. Um, Again, take what resonates, and if something kind of applies to you a little bit more specifically or not, I don't know. Just kind of something I'm being drawn to very specifically here. And then we also have the Temperance card. And I mean, Temperance talks about patience. Dropped it here. Talks about patience. Kind of, especially, I think, like, as we are continuing on this manifestation journey, a big thing is uh, patience, being patient with the things that you want to come in. Ultimately, anytime that you're kind of feeling like, oh man, I just really want this thing. Oh, I just really want this thing. I think it's kind of a good moment to take a pause, take a breath, maybe realize that we're a little attached to to some specific outcome, maybe, or or whatever, and then kind of the universe kind of asking us to have a little bit more patience. And this kind of process of, I know it can be really really tough to go through this, like, you may feel like you've been waiting for a long time. You've been very 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 patient with these things, but I think this process is sort of tempering ourselves to um, be able to live in this more of this state of flow and like allowing things to move in and out of our lives, allowing us to not get so caught up in something mentally, and allowing ourselves to just have a little bit more fun within our lives. I mean, this sort of healing journey is something that we're going to be going through for the rest of our lives. You know, this is a lifelong thing that we're doing here. So I think it's important to remember that some things might take a little bit more time, and everything is going to come in divine timing here. Yeah. I am feeling called to go and read what the Temperance card says for us, just because I feel like there's probably a little bit of wisdom within that we may need here. So it says temperance appears when there is a need for balance of opposing areas in your life. You are being asked to be patient and re examine priorities in your life that are in disharmony. Temperance assists us by pointing you to life's meaning and purpose, which, yeah, I think that really just confirms what I was saying in a lot of ways there. I think the thing that like is added into that, what I was saying is there's the kind of a need for balance in opposing areas of our life. So if you feel like maybe you're overindulging into one thing, maybe there's a bit of a call to take a little bit of a step back in that and kind of rebalance and recalibrate, return to center, that kind of stuff. And yeah, cool, cool, cool. Well, that was absolutely a beautiful reading there. If you enjoyed, if you got something out of that, you can go ahead and leave a like down below. Show your appreciation. That's the easiest and simplest way to do so. And otherwise, if you feel like if something resonated with you specifically or anything like that, I'd love to hear about it down below in the comments. And if you want to continue joining me on this journey, you can go ahead and leave a little subscribe and turn that notification bell on to be notified whenever I post another reading. And yeah. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I hope you have a beautiful rest of your day or night whenever you're watching this. All right? Cool. Thank you. Bye. Hello, pile number 3. If you chose the Destroyer card here, then this is your reading. Now, I think that looks pretty cool, doesn't it? Very nice, very nice. Now, this is all of these cards are in correspondence with some sort of major arcana in normal Rider-Waite tarot deck. This one is in correspondence with the Tower card. And the Tower card, often people can be a little scared of the Tower card because Tower moments are not very fun a lot of the time. But I think it doesn't have to be scary. I think part of that can be just our own perceptions about stuff. Often it's really just speaking about, um, I mean, if there's a Tower moment, then there's some sort of faulty foundation that's there that is going to crumble eventually. If there's faulty foundation, then it's going to crumble. So I think if there is some sort of Tower moment that you're going through, I think maybe there's a bit of a call to kind of look at that and see where maybe the structure there was a little faulty, and where we can shift and change some things so that we don't run into the same issues again, right? So let's take a look at what this says in here, because I love the little commentary that's in this book. It says, in order to know something at a deeper level, we must first let go of what we think we already know. Beliefs can be self limiting, and in order to break free of them, the walls of our reality need to come crashing down. This can be frightening, as it demands that we let go of the past and step into the unknown. However, if we renew our faith, we have the opportunity to make a breakthrough, and in doing so, completely rewrite our destiny. That's beautiful. That's exactly what I was trying to get at with what I was saying about the Tower card in general. So that's some pretty cool energy to get started on our reading here. So let's take a look at our next card. So I've been what I'm doing here is instead of like just taking a look into tarot or whatever, I have some other decks here that I like that I want to use. So one of them is the Getting into the Vortex tarot deck by Esther and Jerry Hicks. If you don't know who they are, you may know the name Abraham Hicks. They're kind of related there. If you don't know any of that, I would recommend maybe taking a look at them if you feel called to. But basically, they just kind of talk about getting into alignment and stepping into this vortex, which is basically just getting into alignment with within yourself, with source, and it's kind of all about manifestation and the law of attraction and all that stuff. So if that's interesting to you, you might want to take a look at them. So the card that we got here is I must focus on wanted to manifest wanted. And I feel like this kind of speaking to, I know where attention goes, energy grows, right? So like if you're focusing on what you want to manifest, then you will start to manifest those things. But let's see what the card actually says here. It says, we would never go so far as to say that the behavior of others is responsible for the way you feel, because you have the power to focus and therefore attract, despite the behavior of others in your environment, right? If every time you see something unwanted, you realize that, in the same moment, your awareness of something wanted is keener, and you quickly turn your attention in the direction of the new, emphasize wanted everything in your experience. In your new, emphasize wanted. Everything in your experience will continue to improve. So I want to reread that actually because I feel like I read that kind of poorly, but I want to reread that. If every time you see something unwanted, you realize that, in the same, and if every time you see something unwanted, you realize that, in the same moment, your awareness of something wanted is keener, and you quickly turn your attention in the direction of the newly emphasized wanted, everything in your experience will continue to improve. So sometimes the wording that they use can be a little confusing, but it's very particular, and I feel like it's sort of there to just kind of make you think, and make you use your own brain to kind of connect the dots there. But it's talking about how we would never go as far as to say that the behavior of others is responsible for the way you feel, because you have the power to focus, right? So, if and I think this is kind of speaking to the fact that if somebody else is kind of annoying you, there's something that's being reflected back to you. If there's something unwanted in somebody that you see, then there's something being reflected back to you, and it can be kind of really hard to look at that. But if we take a moment and focus on that wanted part, instead, if we because we have the power to focus. We have the power to control what we are focusing on. So we get to decide for ourselves what that is. And often we can get caught in this binary trap of either or thing. But I think it's important to remember that there's a spectrum of stuff that you can focus on there. There's really there's a whole world of possibilities. The universe is infinite, and there are many, 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 many possibilities always, and all sorts of different interactions or whatever sort of challenges you're being faced with here. So very cool card here, very interesting. And then if you felt called to pile number one at all, you may want to go and take a look, because we got the same card for our crystal healing card that we got in the first pile as well here. And this card these are the crystal healing cards. Ooh, excuse me. Maybe you, like me, may need a little bit more rest lately, or to be a little bit more whatever. Anyway, um, got the same card as pile number one here. So let's take a look at what it says here. Now we got that purple Chalcedony card. Now each of these crystals in here all correspond to a different chakra. So this corresponds to the crown chakra. And what it says here is for physical qualities, it transmutes negativity into positivity, relates to general health, tumors, and brain infections, reduces inflammation of the optic nerves and eyes, purifies energy fields, supports mineral absorption in veins, can alleviate the side effects of dementia. The emotional qualities are uplifting, calms neurosis and emotional turmoil, brings connection with all life forms, and a sense of purpose to one's soul. Opens the third eye for psychic knowing, fosters humility, sincerity, and spiritual wisdom. And the thing at the bottom says, I am purified. Fortunately, I don't have the best camera here, so can't really see it too well. But trust me, that's what it says. You don't have to trust me if you don't want to, but I am trying to be as open and honest as I can be. Now, I want to read the little healing thing here. If you do happen to have um, this purple Cassidy and these other crystals that we'll end up talking about in the healing thing, you can try and do this healing yourself at home. Otherwise, at the in the second paragraph here, there's a bit of a visualization that I think is still useful, and if you use that kind of visualization, it may still help you, may even just help you feel better. So let's see. It says, lie down on your back and place a purple chalcedony over your crown chakra in the center of your head, and place another 12 inches above your crown. Place a third on your third eye chakra. Place a light pink crystal on your heart chakra, and a fourth purple chalcedony on your belly. Next, place a smoky quartz or light brown colored crystal beneath each foot. Place additional purple chalcedony crystals 6 inches beneath the smoky quartz, 6 inches away from either side of your body, and one in each palm. To further amplify this practice, you can surround yourself with white moonstone. So if you have all those crystals, you can go ahead and do all that stuff. May be kind of cool. Take long, slow breaths with each exhale. Relax and open yourself to the soft, healing violet energy of the purple chalcedony. With each inhale, allow this energy to fill your body from the crown downward. Continue for at least 10 minutes, then rest within the violet light for at least 10 minutes, allowing this energy to seep into you, releasing negativity and tension. This will purify your physical, mental, emotional, and subtle bodies. Beautiful stuff. Absolutely beautiful. So yeah, you can use that second part kind of as a visualization. You can just kind of visualize that violet light energy. There's like a violet light coming down and surrounding yourself. I don't think you need these crystals in order to do that sort of visualization. I think they're still very powerful energy and healing that can come from just sitting in that meditation and feeling that sort of energy. Perfect. So let's go ahead and get some tarot cards for us and see what sort of messages want to come out for that with that. All right. Lots of swords coming out right now. Yeah, there is a lot of similar energy to pile number one there. So yeah, if you felt called to pile number one at all, I do recommend you go and check that out. There might be some messages in there that you might need to hear. See if there's anything else that Spirit wants to pull out here. Whether you and you. Another swords card, and then a cups. Okay, very interesting. Almost all swords decided to come out, which is very interesting. Which, I mean, that alone kind of attributes to a lot of mental energy. Maybe you feeling pretty mentally exhausted in general right now. Maybe you've been going through a hell of a time mentally lately. I feel like a lot of us probably have. It's been an interesting time. We just had Mercury retrograde. If you're watching this when I uploaded it, so I mean, you know, it's the time. It's the Mercury retrograde time. You know. So yeah, we got a lot of swords here. We literally have the 5 of swords, 6 of swords, 9 of swords, and the 7 of swords here. Um, now, yeah, very interesting. We also have Temperance and the Magician who that came out, as well as the Ace of Cups. So I feel like while there is all this swords energy, I obviously this is not all negative. I don't think there's ever an all negative, but that said, I think maybe we're really learning how to navigate all these sort of negative, interesting, weird sort of mental states that you can be in. I mean, there's lots of like with the 5 of swords here, there's lots of contemplation. Maybe there is a lot of contemplation going on for you right now, or maybe you're being called to sort of sit in some silence and contemplate a little bit more. Maybe sit in meditation a little bit, because it feels like maybe we've been a lot in this 9 of swords energy where we feel like there's all those thoughts that are saying the things that are very negative, or the programming, the negative programming that goes on often in our heads. um, Maybe we've sat in that rumination a little bit too much lately, and there's a bit more of a call to kind of, especially since with that big yawn that I had at the beginning of the reading, I feel like it's kind of this call to take a moment and really try to slow things down for ourselves and sit in meditation a little bit more and try and rewire that automatic negativity, trying to take a look at where we're being negative to ourselves and try to be positive instead. Um, we also got the 6 of swords here, which feels like maybe we have been working through this energy pretty decently lately, and we're kind of really learning how to do that, especially with the magician and the temperance card here. Um, Magician really talks about like being that alchemist, alchemizing those negative energies, transmuting it into positive energy. And I think with the 6 of swords here, we really are learning how to navigate um, our mental states and figure out how we can be living in a more positive way. We also have the 7 of swords here, so maybe there was some deception, maybe some self-deception, maybe some deception from others. Doesn't necessarily matter, but maybe there's been some deception lately. Maybe you've been working through that. Maybe that's been part of the mental battles that you've been going through. Let's see, and then there's also, I think, as we're working through this, I think it's important to learn that. Um, yes, we are this magician. But that doesn't mean that everything's going to happen overnight, right? Hence why we have the temperance card that came out. It's all about patience, and it's all about bringing things into balance, trying to see like maybe where we're overindulging ourselves, maybe where we're um, not quite sitting in contemplation, maybe where we need a little bit more of that meditation, contemplation. Maybe doing that healing would really help you out. And then I think as we work through this, and I think that this is on the horizon. The Ace of Cups is very much on the horizon. That finding that positive emotional state and being in a better overall energy for ourselves is definitely on the horizon for us. Seems like there's just been quite a period of time of this mental turmoil, really, is what I'm getting from that. Um, so yeah, maybe something, especially since like the purple chalcedony, maybe even just getting this crystal for yourself would be very helpful. It is all about the crown chakra and helping to heal that. So it even says calms neurosis and emotional turmoil. So if there's been a lot of emotional turmoil, then um, maybe focusing in on oneself, or yeah, maybe getting some purple chalcedony might help you transmute some of that negativity into positivity, which would be really cool. Um, and yeah, let's see. Yeah, and I think part of that too, especially like with this what you wanted card, focus on wanted to manifest wanted. Kind of, there's been a lot of unwanted things that may be coming up and trying to pull your attention, but really it's important to remember that those are just distractions. Um, and through some meditation and contemplation and just really being able to rest and return to center, we can start to focus on what we truly want, and which is that positivity, right? And maybe we've had a bit of a tower moment that's kind of sparked all this stuff to happen. Maybe we're going through a tower moment currently. Yeah. So if that is you and if this has resonated, then I am sending you so much love and light, and it will get better. I promise it will get better. This too shall pass. Nothing lasts forever, and the the only constant is change, and we can choose how we want to change as well. So um, I hope you have enjoyed. I hope you got something from this. And if you did and you want to show some appreciation, you can leave a like down below. And if you want to share where you're at in your journey, maybe give some words of encouragement to somebody else who may be going through the same thing, you can leave that down in the comments below. And if you want to join me on this tarot journey, then you can go ahead and subscribe. Turn the notification bell on so you don't miss any of my future uploads. And yeah, thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a beautiful rest of your day or night whenever you're watching this. Yeah, thank you so much. Love you. Bye. Hello, pile number three. If you chose the balance card here, then this is your pile as you're reading. Yeah, so welcome, welcome. We got this balance card starting off. So I believe this is the justice card. It's either the justice or the temperance card from the normal Rider Waite tarot. Major arcana in that. So let's see what it actually says here. Justice. Yeah, I knew it. So let's read what it says here. Maybe get us a little bit of send us on the right direction for this reading. Yeah. Okay. So we got this dragon is the great balancer of the energies of the universe. She sees the truth behind all thoughts, words, and actions and governs the energies of cause and effect. She stands at the center of our universe, making the necessary adjustments to restore equilibrium. At a macrocosmic level, everything that happens is fair. If you walk with integrity and honor, nothing unfair will ever occur in your life. You will walk a balanced path of happiness and fulfillment. Beautiful energy, beautiful stuff. Let's read the meaning here too. The truth will always come out in the end. Balance will always be restored. In order to effect positive change, you must first take full responsibility for the life you have created. If you act with goodness, kindness, honor, and integrity, you will end up living a fulfilling life in harmony with the natural order. That's beautiful stuff. I really love that. Absolutely. I feel like I'm not sure if this is an energy that you're moving into, or if this is an energy you've been in, or um, maybe maybe you're kind of having a moment of really looking at some truth in your life and realizing where yeah, maybe you need to. You're realizing maybe some places where you maybe haven't been living in integrity and honor as of late, and making those adjustments potentially. Let's see. So what we're doing here is I have a couple other decks. We got the Getting into the Vortex deck here by Esther and Jerry Hicks. They are related to Abraham Hicks, if you've heard that name before. If you haven't, and you like what we end up talking about with this, you might want to take a look at them and do some research on your own. They got some really cool stuff to learn about. Very awesome. And the card we pulled from this deck is it's this card here. Very cool, kind of Christmassy, kind of on theme for if you're watching this when this came out. But of course, these are timeless, so you don't have to be. But this is we are heading into Christmas time here when I'm making this. Oh my goodness, I keep dropping this card here. I don't know if that has anything to do with anything, but yeah. It says billions of us are living in perfect diversity, which I think is very cool. Like that alone is super cool energy. Yeah, it kind of speaks to like how we're all unique people, unique individuals, and when we live in that in our uniqueness, then that's alignment too, you know. Anyway, it says the diversity of your planet is of tremendous value and benefit because from variety springs all new ideas and expansion. Without the diversity, there would be complacency and endedness. You are billions of people living the perfect diversity, just as you knew you would, constantly asking for improvement and thereby setting up for the next generation that improved life experience. If you understood that, no longer clamored, if you understood that and no longer clamored for the one right way to live, things would go better for you sooner. So maybe this is kind of like, especially speaking on that balance energy that we were talking about, maybe you've kind of been seeing where you maybe haven't been living in that integrity and honesty, and maybe you've been kind of clamoring for that one right way to live. And I think this is coming through to say, like, there's not a one right way to live. There's not a one size fits all. It's all about what works for us, what works for each of us as an individual, what allows us to each uniquely be ourselves, you know? And if we stopped clamoring for the one right way to live, then things would go a lot better for us a lot sooner. That's a really cool reminder, a really good card to get pulled there. I'm loving that. Even I need a little bit of that reminder here and there, you know. Cool. And then another tarot deck we're using here is the Crystal Healing Tarot deck. Um, necessarily tarot, not actually tarot here, but you know what I mean. Anyway, these all correspond are just a bunch of crystals that correspond with a different chakra, and then there's a little bit of a healing practice that you can do with these as well. So if you do happen to have these, or if you feel called to do this, then you can go ahead and pick up these crystals, do some healing work with them, whatever. I just think they're kind of cool. Always love a good rock, right? Anyway, the one that you got today is the red fire agate here. Looks pretty cool. Looks pretty cool. So the red fire agate, underneath here it says masculine libido. Physical qualities brings life force and strength, purifies and grounds, assists heart healing, can treat the male reproductive system, circulatory system, and lower vertebrae, increases masculine libido, strengthens muscles in the lower pelvis and perineum. Emotional qualities are helps reduce aggression, stubbornness, and rage related to insecurity, provides a sense of safety, personal empowerment, and effectiveness, supports emotional stability, brings warrior spirit, endurance, patience, and logic, repels negative energy. And on the bottom here it says, I am a warrior. Very nice. Very cool. Lovely, lovely energy, lovely stuff. I think that's a very cool thing here. Let's read what the little healing thing that you practice that you can do with this is, especially if you're a crystal person and you have a bunch of these. These are pretty good to work with in that way. Otherwise, you can just use. I think there's. I'll talk about it a little bit more once you get there, but there's also a good little visualization trick that you can do with these as well. So let's see. Says surround your body with 4, 6, or 8 evenly spaced red fire agate crystals, placed about 12 inches away from your body. Place a black crystal beneath your feet, point facing down toward the earth. Place another red fire agate on your root chakra at the base of your spine. If it has a single termination point, face it upward. Position a smaller red fire agate with the inner top of your right where the inner top of your right thigh meets your pelvic bone. Do the same for your left thigh. The crystals on your thighs should be parallel to one another. Place 4 or 5. placed 4 or 5 inches apart. So they specifically energize the testes. So it, if you're a female, I think this also kind of works because we all have masculine and feminine energy within us, right? This is not necessarily gender specific, even though there's a lot of gender specific things in here. You know, um, so it says now position a royal blue crystal on your third eye to energize the pituitary gland, which sends hormones to the testes to help increase libido. To help reduce high blood pressure, place a garnet or red fire agate over your physical heart to help alleviate depression. Place a pink crystal on your heart chakra. Finally, hold a red fire agate in each hand and face your palms upward. Now, this is where, so if you have a crystals, you can go ahead and do this stuff. I don't necessarily have all these things, and you may not, but this is where I think this is something that we can all do. So, what we can all do here is, whether or not you have these crystals, you can begin breathing and relax with every exhale, letting go of tension, anxiety, negativity, self judgment, and fear. With every inhale, imagine charging the red fire agate at the base of your spine, sending powerful energy into your root chakra. You can just imagine that energy going into your root chakra. Continue for at least 10 minutes. Then switch. With every inhale, send vitalizing energy into your third eye and pituitary gland. With every exhale, visualize the charged energy from your pituitary flowing down to your testes, giving them renewed vitality. Continue for 10 minutes. Imagine the energy from the red fire agate and your root chakra flowing upward to flood your body and aura with energizing red light. Repeat silently to yourself, I am potent, I am sexual. Very cool stuff. A very interesting little energy thing here. I think maybe there's a bit of maybe you feel like you've had a bit of maybe that feels necessary for you. I'm not saying anything about that. I'm not a doctor or anything, but maybe you felt a little bit low in your libido lately. I don't but yeah, this also kind of corresponds with its different chakra, root chakra here, maybe kind of just speaking to that root chakra work as well. Um, take what resonates, leave the rest, right? So let's see what sort of messages we got with the tarot that wants to come through here. Very interesting. Seems to be a lot of masculine energy in this reading so far. Whether or not you're a male or female does not matter. Okay. Anything else that wants to come out here? Seems like you guys wanted to come out. What do we got there? I'm not feeling like that. I don't even. Yeah. Okay, cool. So it's looking like we got some cool stuff here. We got King of Pentacles, Death, Five of Wands, the Chariot, the Fool, and the Knight of Swords. So I mean, there is a big focus on that libido for whatever reason. So if that's feeling like some sort of issue you got here, I mean, maybe there's I don't even know where to go with that one. To be honest, actually, I never mind. I don't know where that thought was going. I don't know. I think with the balance card and like kind of thinking of all of our diversity and stuff here, how we're all diverse beings. Um, I think this is like a really important place to like really remember. Like you'll know ultimately what you need from this. So I'm just gonna talk, right? And what resonates resonates. What doesn't. So we got the King of Pentacles here. Pentacles is all about that physical world. Maybe you've had some issues with the physical world with finances or something like that. But I feel like that King of Pentacles is coming through. King of Pentacles with the Death card. I mean, especially with the Death, maybe we've had a bit of an ego death lately, or we're having an ego death, or kind of uh, just a moment where we're realizing where we've been out of balance and where we can kind of bring things back into balance. And um, with that death card, I mean, it's all about transformation and uh, releasing the old, what doesn't serve us anymore, and coming into more of a more balanced and aligned energy. And I think through that process, you'll really find that you'll end up in this King of Pentacles energy for yourself, and you'll be able to um, really stand in that assuredness of your financial stability. We also got the Five of Wands, which here is depicting a bunch of people looking like they're fighting with these wands. So maybe there's been a bit of like a maybe an internal fight going on, and I think that this reading potentially is coming through to say that. Um, Everything's going to be okay, and you don't have to worry so much about what might happen. Um, we also have the Chariot and the Fool here. These are both very, I mean, the Chariot's very fast moving energy, and the Fool is all about, taking that leap of faith, taking that leap into the unknown. I think it's very easy to be scared of that unknown and to go straight back into what is known, and what we're comfortable with. But I think there's a big call here to step into that unknown, especially if you feel like you've been subject to other people's um, opinions for a long time, or if you feel like you've been subject to maybe you haven't actually been subject to other people's opinions, but maybe what you think other people's opinions might be as well here. Maybe that's a bit of that inner turmoil that's been going on. I'm not sure. um, but I think as you step into the unknown, you'll end up finding that you'll find this like pretty fast moving energy of you um, heading to that right track, being able to take that step out and finding that libido again. you know, um, take what resonates. Okay, we got also the Knight of Swords here, which swords is all is that mental energy. I think there's a lot of mental energy here in general. Not as much as was in pile number two, but if you feel called to go to check out pile number two, you might want to go check them out. Um, you don't have to, of course. And yeah, Knight of Swords. I mean, it's all about like we have this guy on this horse, and he's very focused with his sword right in front of his face, and as he's charging forward, and I feel like this is kind of a call. Like as you step onto this fool's journey, um, maybe you'll be able to focus on the new things that is in your life that balance. Focus on bringing those things into balance and where you're out of balance and trying to reevaluate everything here. And temperance has been coming up a lot today, so I feel like even though temperance didn't come out for your reading here, I do feel called to bring it up anyway because there's always a call for patience, and patience is a virtue, and it's one of it's the more I live life, the more I realize it is so nice to be patient and to remember that patience. And again, like it's a muscle too that you gotta like actually work. And if you it's very easy for a lot of us in this day and age to very much lose that patience. There's a lot of things that are trying to take our attention, and there's a lot of instant gratification out in the world, and um, if we've been caught up in those cycles of instant gratification, then it can be very hard to have that patience. So I think there's also a call here to have some grace with yourself, and don't beat yourself up too badly. Okay. In fact, try not to beat yourself up at all. But I know that can be pretty difficult. But yeah, maybe that's a bit of what this Five of Wands energy was too. Maybe it was a little bit of where you've been beating yourself up, and where you don't need to beat yourself up so much, or really at all. Um, I think ultimately it's important to remember that we all make mistakes, and it doesn't, those mistakes don't make you who you are. What makes you who you are is what you learn from those mistakes, and the person you decide to become through that. Because we've all done some things that we're not necessarily proud of in our lives, and ultimately it's about who we decide to be despite of those things that determine who we are. Yeah, really cool energy here. Really somber feeling like this, like, I don't know, just calmness, which is nice. Yeah. Anyway, hopefully you got something out of that. If you did, you can go ahead and leave a like down below. It's the simplest and easiest way you can show your appreciation. And if you would like to share your journey or where you're at with this energy, what resonated, what didn't resonate, whatever, I would love to hear about it down below in the comments. And yeah, if you want to continue following me along on this journey, you can go ahead and leave a subscribe, put that notification bell on so you're notified next time I upload a reading. And then yeah, hopefully you have a beautiful rest of your day or night whenever you're watching this. And I hope you're doing great. You got this, and I love you. Okay, have a good one. Bye.